Why do you think this function or imagination in general is greatly overlooked in modern psychology? Why do you think people are not taking advantage of it?
This is an interesting question. I had a workshop in United States. I tried to advertise nicely, like, hey, the power of imagination and how you can make fantasies to get over many different kinds of problems. But not many people showed up in my workshop. No, it could be me, but I think it was the topic. And somehow our field, psychology, psychotherapy, this is very dependent on fashions. So we have some fashions, they become very, very popular. And then everybody is like around that fashion. And in different countries are also different. So for example, here in Germany, there are quite a lot of people who are interested in the uses of imagination and systemic work, and even has many different names. But other countries, their interest may be in different areas. For example, in the United States now, I think the number one interest is the brain. So anything that has the word neuro, when the word neuro is in it, then that's interesting. And mindfulness is also interesting. Actually, these ideas that we are talking about are not that far from mindfulness or from neuro, whatever. So maybe it's just a question of fashion. Maybe next year everybody will be talking about how to use imagination to make changes in our lives.
Maybe this is why you've named the workshop "The Power of the Brain" to include.
Yeah, you got it. Marketing trick.
Which obstacles do we encounter when we try to deteriorate or to change the way we feel through changing the way we think or the way we behave? Which obstacles do we encounter that we do not encounter when using imagination for the same problem?
That's a lovely question. And it rhymes with the idea that in many textbooks of psychology, psychotherapy, you have the cognitive behavioral idea that the human being can be like understood as 4 different chapters, like your behavior is one chapter, your body is one chapter. So body, you can give medication, and you can sleep deprivation, and your thoughts, your cognitions. So you have like this square with 4 different chapters: thinking, behavior, body, and I get lost with the 4. Anyway, I think I've said all the 4. So then this way of thinking that you can influence your thoughts by, let's talk about it, so you should think differently, so then you don't have this problem. Or you should do something, we'll go and do exercise and take this medication. You can influence the person by doing something with the body. And you cannot really influence feelings. That's the most difficult part, to influence directly, so you have to always use the other chapters. You can also influence behavior and say, I think you should respond like this instead of like that. Try this. You can give homework assignments, and you can try new behaviors, and the new behaviors will cause new feelings in your mind. Somehow this square with the 4 different chapters, I think there's something missing in that square. And I will put one more block, this, and this. One more chapter. And that would be imagination. It's like almost the lost tool that we need in our work. And why this lost tool should be put in these traditional squares, the 5th element, the 5th element, I like that. So then it's exactly what you said in your question, that it's easier to change thoughts than emotions. Yes. It's easier to change behavior than emotions. Yes, but it's very difficult to change behavior. Also, thoughts are not so easy to change. They are like very sticky. You think about something in a certain way, it's difficult to think differently, even if everybody is telling you, don't think like that, you should think like this. Then it would be easier for you.
Don't think of the pink elephant. Everybody thinks about the pink elephant.
It's difficult to change your thinking. It's difficult to change your behavior. Medication is not so difficult to take, but the effect is not so good. So then you come to the fifth element. How easy it is to play with imagination. Everybody has good imagination. And if you only succeed in inviting people to play with their imagination, I mean, there are some people who are like, I'm not here to play any games. But if you invite people to play with fantasy, and you could even go like, do you have good imagination? And then it's, no, I'm quite a serious person, I don't have so much imagination. Do you sometimes dream at night? Yes, I do. Okay, are your dreams imaginative? How did you know? And then, you know, everybody is imaginative. If not during the day, at least during the night when they sleep. So there is this capacity in human being to imagine. And we use imagination all the time. And in fact, we use our imagination quite a bit for the bad. You know, like when you imagine that bad things will happen, or you imagine that you're ugly, or you imagine that you're stupid, or you imagine that you made a big mistake. People use their imagination all the time to feel lousy. So if they can do that, so maybe they can do a little bit of how to use your imagination to be a little bit happier.